Story Corner, presented by Jennifer. Spirit Animals, Book 1, Wildborn. Chapter 10, Dream. Feel free to check out my other videos for the spirit animals. And for those of you who have not yet seen the previous videos for Wildborn or spirit animals, feel free to go check those out now, as this is a continuation of that story. Meilin strolled along a wooden walkway through a manicured garden, a fragile parasol on her shoulder. She reached a bridge over a brook between two ponds. Below, ornamental carp swam in lazy circles, flashing their red, orange, yellow, and white scales among the purple blossoms of the water lilies. Trees and shrubbery screened the house from view, but Meilin would have recognized any portion of her grandfather's Zhao garden. She had grown up roaming these pathways, enveloped in the scent of these blossoms. Up ahead, a panda was coming her way. Meilin scrunched her brow. Besides the fish in the ponds and the birds in the trees, animals had never been part of the garden. The panda came to her on the bridge and stood up on its hind legs. "You miss song," the panda said in a rich female voice. Somehow, Meilin wasn't surprised to hear it speak. "Why shouldn't I miss it?" The panda offered no reply. Suddenly, Meilin remembered everything. Lenore had taken her away from Zong. While her father fought a terrible horde, Meilin had run away to the other side of the world, Amaya, the New Lands. How had she reached this garden? She hadn't. This was a dream. Meilin regarded the panda curiously. "Are you Jin?" The panda gave a nod. "I am sorry to be a disappointment to you." "You're not," Meilin began, but couldn't finish. She sighed. "We're at war. I hoped for an animal that could help me fight." I like you, but my home and my father are in danger. I want to like you too. Give me a chance, and you may find I'm more useful than you suppose. Lenore told me you were known as a skillful healer. You were called Peacefinder and Healthbringer, among other things. Meilin, heed my words. You should get inside. This is no kind of weather for a stroll. Meilin peered up at the sky. The only clouds were distant, wispy, and white. The sun glared brightly. It doesn't look bad. You don't want to be here, the panda said. The warning made her uncertain, and she felt a faint chill. Meilin looked around for danger. Close your eyes, Jin insisted. Ignore this illusion. Pay attention. Pay careful attention. Meilin closed her eyes. Pay attention to what? A frosty sensation chilled her skin. Yes, now that she noticed, she felt very cold. And wet. She hugged herself shivering. Meilin opened her eyes, but the garden was unchanged. The panda stared at her. I'm cold, Meilin said. You don't want to be here, Jin repeated. Meilin turned and ran along the wooden walkway. The day remained pleasant around her, but her skin felt cold and wet. Thumping down the wooden walkway, she followed the turns that would lead to the door in the wall. Maybe if she could escape the garden, she could escape the dream. The door came into view. Unsettled by the strange chill, Meilin kept watching for danger. But the garden remained tranquil. When she reached the door, she found it locked. She jiggled the handle and leaned her shoulder against it. But the door refused to budge. Meilin paused. Goosebumps pimpled her arms. If this was a dream, what if she imagined herself stronger than the door? Backing up a few steps, she lowered her shoulder and charged. The end felt jarringly real. As she stumbled back and fell to the ground, Meilin jolted awake. Her eyes opened to a confusing scene. It was dark. Rain poured down on her soaked nightclothes. By the muted moonlight, Meilin could make out that she was on the roof of a tower bordered by battlements. This was the Sunset Tower. But what was she doing up here in the middle of the night during a rainstorm? Freezing and completely drenched, Meilin shakily arose. Before her stood a sturdy wooden door, slick with rainfall. She tried the handle. It was locked. Her shoulders still ached from ramming it. This was the third time she had sleepwalked since summoning Jin. There had never been a dream associated with the experience, but twice before she had woken up doing odd things in unusual places. This, however, was the strangest by far. Meilin tried the door again. It held fast. Would anyone hear her if she yelled? If she banged long enough? Meilin had told Lenore about the sleepwalking. The Amayan had explained that people adapted to new bonds in all sorts of bizarre ways. Vivid nightmares were common. Mood swings, panic attacks, even rashes. All sorts of side effects had been observed. Developing a pattern of sleepwalking was not terribly strange. But this was ridiculous. Her teeth were chattering. She was in real danger from the cold. Meilin banged on the door and yelled, but her efforts didn't make much noise. The wind picked up, making her so cold that she whimpered. She stomped in place and flapped her arms, trying to generate warmth. Then she heard the latch unfasten, and the door opened. There was no light behind the door. Hello? Meilin called softly, hands balled into fists, hesitant to cross into the deeper darkness. The cold, stinging drops continued their assault. A flash of lightning, the first since she had woken, briefly illuminated a black and white form. "Jin?" Meilin asked. Thunder boomed. The doorway was dark again. "Is that you?" The panda gave no reply. Meilin felt stupid for expecting one. Meilin stepped out of the rain, closed the door, then knelt down and hugged the panda. Jin felt warm and perfect. Meilin embraced her for a long time, sinking into her thick fur and enjoying her scent as never before. "I was sleepwalking again," Meilin whispered. "I got myself into real trouble this time. Thanks for finding me." The panda didn't respond, but Meilin felt like she understood. Meilin stood up, placing a hand against the nearest wall to help her feel her way in the dark. "Let's get back to bed,"